Task Force Geeks, spoiler alert, we are back and we are about to break down episodes 1 and 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you have not watched it yet, go away. We love you, but come back later and watch the replay. With me today is my best friend and co-author Mariam Nyans, the only other massive Star Wars fan, that hasn't been on the show yet. And of course, you all know our buddy Walt Thompson, kicking it back and just doing his thing. So, hey, if you're ready, let's dive right into this. Yes, Mariam. Mariam is showing off her entire
the battle
collection over here.
The battle.
Let's start with that epic battle. So, Obi-Wan, right off the bat, they give us a great lead-in by showing us clips from the first 3 prequel movies, from Phantom Menace, where Obi-Wan meets young Anakin Skywalker, all the way through to the epic battle and the first revelation of Darth Vader. I thought this was a great way to lead into the TV show, especially knowing just how much these two men meant to each other. Of course, there was always the epic, don't do it, Anakin, I have the high ground, and you were my brother lines that we saw. Probably lines that go ahead and resonate with every Star Wars fan of those particular movies, or any Star Wars fan. I know I waited 30 some odd years to find out how he became Vader. And then it takes us right to the fight in the Jedi Temple. So thoughts on the fight in the Jedi Temple. Let's just start with that while I go let Peanut Butter in because, it's Task Force Geek and she's got...
Oh, I'm expecting Spirit to come in at some point.
Tell her your house for a moment.
So, that scene is we see the Padawans in training.
Yeah. Yeah, we see the Padawans in training and then the explosive entrance of the 501st.
Yes. And we all go, uh-oh.
Yeah. So first off, that's a really, I want to know who that particular Jedi is. So we don't know who that particular Jedi is.
But I'll tell you who she is because they do actually say it. Well, they don't actually say who she is per se.
But she's probably in the credits. Yeah. See, I wasn't that diligent this time. I just wanted to get to the
I was just watching it, and my first thoughts was when I was seeing that and all the kids were running, I was immediately going, "Where's Grogu?"
Right.
Oh my God! Yes, thank you. I am not the only one thinking this.
Right. I was thinking that too. Where was Grogu during all that?
Where's Grogu? I'm like, that wasn't so clear. I mean, it was clear, but not clear.
Right.
So now you have all these kids, running, and she's trying to protect him, and and it's kind of the similar setup. You know,
it was a really, really good scene. That was a really good scene, and as they pan out, and you're seeing other Jedi and everything, and you're seeing each one fall.
Now, I'm really glad they didn't kill the kids. They just had them run, so we don't know if they lived or not.
Right.
Well, now here's the thing. Let's stop and think about that statement for a minute. We know later in the episode we meet the Inquisitors.
Right.
And I know it's not until episode 2 that we find out truly who the Inquisitors are. Of course, if you watched Rebels or if you read any of the novels, you know that the Inquisitors were once Jedi that have become disillusioned with the Jedi Order and go to the dark side.
Well, they explain that in episode 2.
Right. They do. It's later that they explain that, but
that will bring me to thoughts when we get into the third sister.
Right.
Yes, that's where I was going with that. Okay.
So we got it one step at a time. There's so much to go through.
Hey.
Okay, I'm excited. Come on.
Yeah. So that.
Keep going, Walt.
We go straight from there to what did we go to? Straight from there, we went to
Tatooine. 10 years later.
Tatooine. 10 years later. And we see Obi-Wan, who's basically working
in a meat processing plant.
Meat processing plant.
Okay, what creature was that? Not a Krayt dragon.
That's what I thought it was.
It was some sort of shark. So think of it as like a I don't know what the creature is, but I noticed that it was shark-like, fish-like, so it's like, like a tuna factory.
Right.
So
That's what I was thinking. I'm like,
Frank! Hey,
yo,
man.
Steve.
There's
What's
Steve.
up?
hello. I'm new. Hi.
Steve meet Mariam. Mariam meet
Hi.
Steve.
Oh, by the way, Steve, that was a great race today. But yeah, it's
so
it's
I
like
would
a
I would
fish.
like, I know that's just my, just the geek inside of us is like, what is that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm pretty sure it's out there as to exactly what
It's not a krayt dragon. We've seen that.
Yeah, but it is some sort of flying shark. Because
Right.
you could tell that it had crashed, like after they
And you
killed
noticed
it had
him
crashed.
stealing pieces of meat.
Right.
And we find out why later, because I was like, is he hungry?
Yeah.
That's kind of beneath him.
Yeah. Yes, it was. So there's that. We see Owen Lars.
That was great.
Yeah.
He was
Uncle
typically Owen. Owen
Yeah.
Lars. Owen.
Yeah. Owen
Uncle
Lars.
Owen, who
doesn't like Obi-Wan.
No, and has turned into a bunch of and turned into a bunch of memes. Sexy networking. Hey there. Yes.
Hey.
But do they all become inquisitors? That's the
I don't
question.
think I don't think they all do. No.
No.
No. I mean, when we get to the third daughter, I got some thoughts. Big thoughts.
I have thoughts on her too.
We all have thoughts.
I have thoughts on her too.
Well,
okay. Here's what do you think? Because that's directed by Deborah Chow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what do you think? Because we were introduced to her style in The Mandalorian in the third episode, and here we are. She's directing this entire series. What are you guys' thoughts on her directing?
She's definitely got her finger on the pulse of what made the first 6 movies what they were. We see the world building again that we were kind of missing from the 3 sequel movies. And anybody who knows me knows I am not a fan of the 3 sequel movies. But
The movies that shall not be named.
The movies that shall not be named. The trilogy that shall not be talked about.
It is not canon in my head.
The books still are canon in mine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the final 3 sequel movies. It was like the first movie was a great introduction, and then
we've had arguments about that movie. I am not cool with what they did.
On a side note, it reminds me of when what's his name, who directed the first 2 X-Men movies, decided to leave and do Superman, and then
And Liz, you're thinking of Rogue One. You're thinking of Rogue One. I know you have issues with Rogue One. I know you have issues with the ending of Rogue One.
I loved Rogue One so hard, and then that final scene just crushed it for me, and I was done.
I love that final scene, actually.
Yeah, I'm with Walt.
I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it.
I love that final scene because for me it made that whole opening of Star Wars,
Star Wars: A New Hope.
Just it gave me a totally different. It gave me a totally different feel for it, and it was like, especially for Leia.
Right.
It gave me an even more deeper respect for Leia as being so much as a smartass, so to speak, which is played off really well in this first.
We'll get there.
About her.
We're almost there.
So
so
which
excited.
Even makes it even better in a good and bad way for me.
Yeah.
In this Kenobi here, Obi-Wan Kenobi. So.
Pedro's bringing in and saying hello. Hey, Pedro.
Hey, Pedro.
Hello, Pedro.
Hi. So again, going back to the world building, we're getting to see more of Tatooine. I think what she did with Alderaan is something we have not seen before. We have
We've never seen Alderaan. I love that.
Alderaan.
We've had the only time we have seen Alderaan prior to this in a movie or a TV show was one of the last scenes of Revenge of the Sith when when Bail brings baby Leia to his wife Breha, and we see them on the balcony. That's
Right.
it. But now we are actually getting to see Alderaan. We're getting to see what
It kind of
the
feels
beautiful
like
planet was
Colorado
like.
to me.
Yeah.
I look like Colorado too.
Feels like
Hey.
Colorado to me.
But the buildings, the the way they the procession into the buildings, the whole the whole 9 yards.
The architecture.
Sexy
I don't
networking. I love seeing Alderaan too. Makes me sad they blew that planet up. Now I think it makes us all sad that they blew it up.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
According to Pedro, Alderaan has only been properly featured in Star Wars: The Old Republic game. I believe you are right. It's been a long time since I played that game. So yeah. But we're also seeing a new planet. We're seeing Dio, which for diehards, we know of Dio. We've heard of it in the books and in some of the games, but this is the first time we're also getting to see Dio. So the amount of world building again is what we have all been looking for, since the end of Revenge of the Sith, since the end of Return of the Jedi. We've been looking for this kind of world building. We started getting that in Mandalorian. We got some additional world building in the Book of Boba Fett, but that was mostly focused on Tatooine,
And
different cities in Tatooine.
The only other times we've seen some decent world building have been in the animated shows.
Yes.
Nothing live action. So, like for instance, Clone Wars had lots of world building.
Clone Wars was
about the way George Lucas did all of these movies.
Yeah.
He's always intentionally brought us to new worlds. So when we get stuck on one world too much, people start going, "What's going on?
Right.
Get us out of here."
But that detailed world building was missing in the last 3 movies.
Yes.
And
it was.
I noticed.
Like we really got no explanation for
Rebels.
This takes place before Rebels.
It's just right before Rebels. Like
I would say this is probably 10 years before Rebels, because it's a 30-year span between the end of the Clone Wars and A New Hope. So
I thought it was only 20.
Was it 20?
20
yeah,
years.
Actually, not even 20. It's an 18-year span.
Yeah.
Luke and Leia are supposed to be 18 years old at the beginning of A New Hope.
So then this is like right in the middle of this is probably like 8 years before Rebels then.
Yeah.
Because
Rebels took place right before Rogue One, and then because Rebels kind of led into Rogue One, and Rogue One led into A New Hope.
Right.
Because the way I know we're meandering, but it's because the way seems like it's going. It's like, so we're going to have Obi-Wan, and then you have Rebels, and then you have Ahsoka.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Ahsoka is going to probably be about finding, Ezra.
And that's but that takes place during that's going to take place after or during the Mandalorian time.
Really?
Yeah.
But how is that? How would that be possible if the rumor is that Anakin is going to be in Ahsoka?
Anakin can be in Ahsoka in flashbacks.
Because
at this point he has to be in flashbacks.
Right, because she was asking, if I recall, in Mandalorian season 2, she was asking for the
okay.
Yeah, she was asking for Admiral Thrawn.
You're right,
she was asking
Where
Admiral
is Admiral?
Thrawn.
Yes, Admiral Thrawn. Yes. Okay,
Which,
you're right.
Goodness help me! I swear we better get a Thrawn sighting in Ahsoka.
Thrawn is
well. I mean, it was just announced yesterday that supposedly the entire Rebels cast is coming into Ahsoka.
Yep.
And we're getting a live action chopper. Yes.
Hello,
more kills than R2-D2.
So, where did we leave off?
We're still on Alderaan.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
we were talking about world building and what we got to see of Tatooine. I mean, we're now seeing a completely different area of Tatooine. Where are we? Is this Anchorhead that we're supposed to be in?
On Tatooine?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Anchorhead or not, because wasn't
it's not. We know it's not Mos Eisley, and we know it's not Mos Espa. And Tika, the Jawa makes a comment, you smell like Anchorhead, to Obi-Wan when he walks back into his cave. So
maybe it is Anchorhead.
Considering the world, considering the cities that we've seen already on Tatooine, we've seen Mos Eisley, we've seen Mos Espa, we've seen a couple of other ones in Mandalorian I can never remember the name of. We've seen the Dune Sea, we've seen, the Jutland Wastes. Anchorhead is probably about the only one we haven't seen yet, and it would make sense considering in Star Wars A New Hope, Uncle Owen asks Luke, tells Luke, take the droids into Anchorhead and have their memories erased. So this
has to be Anchorhead.
It's got to be Anchorhead.
Well,
it's probably
it's pretty
the closest.
Close. It seems pretty close.
Yeah,
it's got to be the closest to the Lars homestead. Where
Uncle, I'm going to the Tachi station.
I'm going to Tachi station for a power converter.
You can hang out with your friends later.
See, Walt, this is why I apologized to you before we started.
No, that's fine. I'm just surprised I'm not saying it myself. I'm surprised I'm the one not quoting Star Wars.
So we see him go back into. We're all right. It's Anchorhead.
Remember, we're gonna make an audible here. It's Anchorhead.
Call it audible. It's Anchorhead.
And we got to realize that we were immediately introduced to the Inquisitors.
Yes. Before we even see Obi-Wan.
Yep.
Here comes the Grand Inquisitor, Third Sister, and the whole 9 yards. Okay.
All right. What do you think of the Inquisitor? Because that's been a bone of contention in the fandom. With how he.
I want to know if this is the same Inquisitor from Rebels.
It's supposed to be, yes.
Or if it's different. I don't know. I can't figure that out. I need to. I've been meaning to look that up because he doesn't look the same, and doesn't sound the same. And later on we'll probably get to this point. What happens to him later on.
Yep.
Makes me.
But
wonder.
we definitely get him that they're hunting Jedi.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I do know that the Inquisitor from Rebels.
Yes.
I do know that he was once one of the guards at the library or something like that.
The Grand Inquisitor. He was one of the temple guards. He was one of the library temple guards. Yes.
Right. Yep.
So he wielded a gold lightsaber at one time.
Yes. That this one.
Except you don't have a gold. Yes, that one.
This one.
After
I built it and I saw the Rebels, I was like, oh my gosh. And it's
and yes, Peanut Butter is super spry today.
Super spry.
She's been in a lovey mood the last few days.
Anyways, but yes. So, we'll get into all of that because the Third Sister definitely has, because of the way everybody treats her, there's definitely an interesting backstory, I think, from that one.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, we've had the second brothers and third sisters, something like that. We've had them before. This particular one, Reva, I believe is her name.
Reva is her name.
She is actually a new character to the series.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. And I appreciate the way Moses Ingram is playing her. I think she's doing a good job.
I think she's pretty badass.
Yes.
Yeah.
So going back to
she kind of reminds me a bit of Anakin's little attitude.
No. We get Anakin's little attitude later.
She's got a bit of Anakin's attitude.
So since we're discussing the Grand Inquisitor and Third Sister, as Sexy Networking pointed out, those kids become the Inquisitors. Okay, so this is why that particular scene is important at the beginning of the TV show. However, there's one other thing I want to point out. The Jedi that they are currently looking for on Tatooine is a Jedi by the name of Nari. Nari was one of those younglings.
Right.
Nari did not go to the side of the Sith. So now, of course, he is being hunted by his peers, by people he knew in the Jedi Temple. They are now hunting him.
Right.
This is why I think Reva is interesting because they allude her story is different.
Right.
Her story, I have a feeling her story is going to be very different. I
got an
want to
idea.
know why she's got such a hard on to get Obi-Wan.
Same here.
I kind of have an idea.
But Beth, you know what my main question is about her, don't you?
Fire away, Walt. Go for it, baby. Go for it.
This is a tangent, and there's an artist that I like to follow on Instagram. He goes by the name of Marcus effing Prime, and that's Marcus with a K dot effing, and that's EFFIN dot Prime. You all should look him up. He's a really good, funny cartoonist. He posed the question. We haven't seen very many black people in Star Wars for a long, throughout this whole thing, and he names off
Lando?
He names off Lando. He goes, they either have like
Gideon.
either have like a blowout hairdo or no hair. And here's the third sister, and he wants to know who's doing her micro braids. And I had that same question.
I don't know, but she's cool.
She's cool, but still, it's a good question.
Okay,
who does her micro?
You know what? Maybe they just go stand in like one of those machines and it just does it.
I don't know.
It's a Star Trek thing. Just push a button.
I mean, does she do force mind trick thing on him, or does she hold a lightsaber up to him and say,
"Well,
no, that's not right. I'm gonna cut off your hands if you don't get the micro braids right."
Okay, look, somewhere in the Star Wars universe, there's the equivalent, okay, of the hairdresser that knows how to do all of the cultural hairstyles. All right, we know there's someone there, okay, just like there's the equivalent of there's the equivalent of the Vietnamese ladies who do your fingers and toenails, okay.
So it's a droid. I wonder how many droids she's gone through that haven't gotten her micro braids right. Anyway, let's move on to a serious topic.
Stupid droid.
I got ideas about her.
So
yeah, I have ideas.
Fire away. Let's hear what.
Serious.
Are we there? Because I mean, that's kind of like they really like it's an episode 2 that it really kind of builds.
All right, well, hold that thought then. Hold that. That's
the reason why I haven't said anything.
Yeah. So we see them chasing down Nari, and we're seeing, we get to see more denizens of Tatooine, and and everything through all of this. From there it pans over to Obi-Wan dealing with the whatever this thing is that he's cutting up, and we get to the crux of the story. We get to our main character. So everybody raise your hand if you think Obi-Wan was looking a bit rough in that opening.
Yes.
Still my beating heart.
Oh dear God, here she goes. Okay. Mariam is the Cap to my Bucky, the Obi-Wan to my Anakin. Okay, so
Yes, but you know what was really nice that I love that they carried forward is Obi-Wan's his empathic abilities with animals, which they show a lot in Attack of the Clones with with the what was it, the Boga, whatever it is, the lizard.
When we see him, with Boga going after,
with Boga, and then this
General
one
Grievous.
he's doing it with the
Eopie.
The Opie. Yeah, so he's really. He does that force bonding thing, which we kind of see baby Grogu do with the Rancor.
Yeah.
So you can see this force ability. Just he hasn't let that piece go. It's just natural. I love that. I love that tie. Because he feeds him. And the guy's like, I'll stay around.
Right.
Sex and Networking brings up the point that they think we're getting a new character as Obi-Wan's antagonist. Yes, I would agree, but I think the bigger story between Third Sister and Obi-Wan is the connection to Anakin.
Oh, yeah. I know, but oh God, I'm waiting. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Gigi. Good
What's
to
up,
see
Gigi?
you. Mr. Hooper is buried under work, so he's probably watching along somewhere.
He would have been here.
Yes.
Yeah, he would have been here. But hey, you got us, and we'll keep it fun for you. Always do.
I got a feeling he's listening to us right now.
He should be. He promised he would. So, anyway, so I'm digging the fact that over the last 10 years, Obi-Wan has learned how to understand Jawas.
And talk to him pretty efficiently.
Yeah.
You know what? That was actually pretty interesting. The conversation with the Jawa was actually, because we've never really seen anybody have a conversation.
Dirk.
We were trying to keep that secret, Dirk.
Aren't you supposed to be working, sir?
Work is always
if I
there.
have time to comment, I can invite you into the podcast.
Right. But
Anyway,
but yeah,
sorry,
we've never really had anybody have a conversation with Jawas, or even say that they're friends with Jawas.
Well, I don't know. The girl from Mandalorian said she dated one.
Yeah, but we didn't see her having a conversation with Jawas. I mean, like
yes,
somebody
she did. She was speaking their language.
Unless we saw it, it didn't happen.
I'm pretty positive she was speaking to him while they were building Mando's ship.
With the exception of her and Uncle Owen in Star Wars: A New Hope, who we see, kind of arguing with them over the droids, which is how they acquire C-3PO and R2-D2. This is the most we've actually seen anyone have interaction with the Jawas.
Yeah, it's mostly been like business. And
I think it's and the Jawa wasn't just being, I mean, it was being a Jawa, but it was like more conversational because in the beginning of Mandalorian, when they were talking to him because they stole Mando's ship, parts from his ship, and they're trying to get it back, there was some conversation, and then there was the conversation with what's her name? God, I can't. My brain.
I can't remember her name either.
But it's just like it was casual. It was more casual.
Right. Yeah, more casual. And then Obi-Wan was like, he wasn't speaking in Jawa, but for some reason they were just like having a conversation. Like it was like kind of like the original, like with Owen.
Right.
From
and this goes even a little further.
Jawa.
Yeah, this one goes even a little further because Tika actually makes the comment that you smell like Anchorhead, and
you should have bought some soap.
You should have bought some soap, and then his evaporators goes on the fritz right there, and I
love it. If you're gonna steal my stuff, will you at least clean it? Yes. And then Killer Jaw was like, well, that's extra.
That's right. Let's talk about the bigger thing here in that scene, which is the T-16 model.
Exactly.
We've all seen that before.
Yeah.
And I actually had a cold chill when I saw that because I knew exactly what that was.
And that made me wonder: is that the one Luke was playing with in A New Hope or not? Because
Uncle Owen dropped it back at his feet.
Yep. So.
Maybe he snuck it back in.
Schrodinger's T-16.
Or he put it in a place conveniently for Luke to find it.
For Luke to find it. I would almost guarantee that this is the same T-16.
I think so. I think that's an intentional Easter egg.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think that's I definitely think that's a big Easter egg right there. And it's a great Easter egg too because it's one of those small details that ties everything together with a happy little bow.
Right.
And kind of shows us after the fact that, Obi-Wan all this time really has been looking after Luke. He really has been watching what's going on, making sure that he's safe from the Empire, making sure that he's protected all this time as he promised Padme he would do.
Well, Owen almost lost his life.
Right.
Well,
Almost.
Uncle Owen turned himself into a bloody meme, okay? I mean, let's face it.
Almost. Just a little.
Yeah.
Could have lost his hands.
But what's interesting about that is that you can tell Third Sister had a feeling because that's just about everything every Force user uses.
Yeah.
She had a feeling that he knew something about a Jedi, but she also had a feeling that it was something not nice about Jedi. She was trying to get it, trying to get some information out of him on that one. Of course, but yeah.
Yeah.
And yet,
he gets to see that there's a secret.
Yeah.
That there was a secret that Owen was holding, which obviously he's got a massive secret.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got Anakin's kid.
His nephew is,
right.
And Darth Vader's son, for God's sakes.
And the fact that he doesn't like Jedi either.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
But with that being the case, then let me play devil's advocate here. Why did he protect Owen? Why did Obi-Wan? Why did Owen not give Obi-Wan up?
Because I think the thing is that it just feels like it's like if he mentions anything that has anything to do with any Jedi and it could possibly lead him back to Luke, he didn't want it because that will expose the massive secret. So regardless, even though he would have given up Obi-Wan like that, he couldn't in order to protect Luke.
Right. Because
is Luke showing any Force sensitivity yet?
No,
we don't know that yet. We have no idea at this point in time.
Yeah, but we don't want anybody coming through.
But Leia,
we don't want anybody coming through and measuring their midichlorian count.
Oh God, you said
the word.
You can't believe it, can you?
Why did you say the word?
I said that just to get that reaction.
The word.
I said it just to get that reaction.
That's the reason why the Mandalorian, they call it the M count, because midichlorian
Ladies and
is
gentlemen,
bad
we
word.
take a short break to recover from Walt saying the M word.
Hey,
Tell him, man, tell him.
I'm also a fan of Jar Jar Binks, so there you go.
Darth Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar.
I don't think he's that smart enough to be a Darth.
Oh, he was.
I never had an issue with Jar Jar. I thought he was goofy, but
I thought he had some of the smartest lines in that first movie.
Some of the best lines in that movie.
He did.
So I don't.
It's leaking in here. Monsters out there. When are you thinking we're not in any trouble? That's a great line. I'm sorry, that's a great line.
Mesa don't know.
That is a great line.
I never was like I never was horrible. I was never horrible on Jar Jar. I was really more frustrated with how they chose to tell us what the Force is, and they've been like revamping and reworking it so that it doesn't, offend our sensibilities.
I was okay with the midichlorians. I'm just like, there has to be some kind of way to
right? Yes.
Yeah, you got it. Qui-Gon was
clearly
a conspiracy
theory
thing on his own. Yes.
Ugh.
And then they died with him.
Headcanon accepted. It makes me think of the Dragon Ball Z power meter set.
Right.
And which eventually they ditched because it was because they ditched because it got to the point where the meter can't go up that high anymore. So
so
anyway.
but other than that, the prequels are good.
Yeah.
Prequels are good. It really expanded the political stuff that was happening, so that was a good thing.
Like I said,
Mace's still alive, by the way.
I don't mind the whole thing.
Headcanon accepted.
I don't mind the fact that there was a way that they could measure how people were more Force sensitive.
Oh my God, Anakin's midichlorians are off the charts.
Yeah, so.
Really?
That didn't bother me.
Well, and I think Dirk's landed on this quite
Yes,
nicely.
I was going to say that, and I did. We were going. I'm pretty positive we're getting a Qui-Gon at some point.
We have to get a Qui-Gon.
3 times it has been alluded to in 2 episodes.
Not to mention the fact that if you're a fan of the Clone Wars, I think it was the final episode of season 6. Qui-Gon reaches out to Yoda to show him how to communicate with him.
How to communicate.
And Yoda said something in the final opening sequence.
The final scene of Revenge of the Sith and training I have for you.
Correct.
Right. You know, and for those of you that may not know this much about Qui-Gon Jinn, there was a difference in the Force. And Mariam, Steve, close your ears. Mariam and I have covered this in a variety of different fanfictions we've written over the years.
We play in this world all the time.
I have to read it. Qui-Gon Jinn followed what was known as the unifying Force, whereas Qui-Gon followed the living Force, whereas the rest of the Jedi followed what was called the unifying Force. And there is a difference between them. And it kind of the living Force kind of wanders into that realm of a gray Force user as well, depending on how you're using it. So,
according to Filoni, there's no gray. I know. How many times have we forayed into this? But we all love the idea of gray. But Filoni says no. That George was always.
That's because Filoni doesn't recognize everything. All those books. That 30-year span of books.
I know. Trust me, I know. And he's like, nope. George says it's Sith, evil, good.
No,
but George, then we brought in the Bendu.
But then we get.
Are in between,
but then we also get Qui-Gon. Then we also get Mace Windu. Okay, Mace Windu, who has touched his dark side, who deals with Shatterpoint.
Yes, the Shatterpoint is now canon because they finally admitted it.
But to be quite honest, in the Star Wars realm, Mace Windu, Qui-Gon Jinn, and yes, I'm going to say it, Luke Skywalker are all gray. Because they have touched both sides equally and have come out on the other side, which is basically the definition of a gray Force user. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, you know what? I would so love you to have a conversation with Filoni. I would pay to watch that.
And here's my take on that. Here's my take on Filoni.
Yeah.
I don't think he would want to reveal anything before he gets something out. So, because I mean, look at Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
think about it, Ahsoka, a Jedi. She's actually not a Jedi.
She's not a Jedi anymore, and she's definitely not a Sith. Nope. But you can tell that
she could be considered a gray Force.
I think she follows. I personally think Ahsoka follows the living Force.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So she's more Qui-Gon-ish.
Yeah, I think so too. So,
Steve, if you would like to read some of those fan fictions by Mariam and I, please TM me at a later time.
Okay.
Anyway,
Leia.
Sorry. Yeah,
we get to see
that. Leia. We see a very young Leia, a very feisty young.
Oh Leia. Yeah.
Sass and snark all the way. She is everything we have ever wanted from our princess, and we are getting it from the smallest revelation up.
You call this a
rescue? We find out that she has been the way that she is since birth.
And I love how Breha tries to blame Bail for her slightly wild child ways, but let's face it, she is very much her father's child. She is very much like Anakin.
She's very much Padme.
Not according to
and she's Padme too. She's very much both of them, but some of that wild streak is Anakin. I mean, let's think about a lot of the stuff Anakin used to do. Okay?
She's very impulsive, which so was Anakin.
That was Anakin. She gets the impulsiveness from Anakin, but man, she gets that sharp tongue from Padme. Oof.
She gets,
The way she took down her cousin. Holy cow.
When we meet her and she goes and meets her cousins and her cousin's giving her a bad time.
Yeah.
That's where you're starting to notice her force sensitivity.
Yeah.
She's got the being able to read another person's mind, which of course makes me wonder, why does no Jedi or Sith sense her? Because she's using her gift actively.
But unknowingly.
Yeah, and that could be explained off as just having a politician's intuition. Remember, it took us 2.5 movies before, I mean, yes, we all knew Palpatine was the Emperor, but it took us 2.5 movies for those people who had never seen the first 3 movies. Watching Phantom Menace: The Revenge of the Sith took them 2.5 movies to discover Palpatine was the Emperor, simply because he was a politician and he was using those force sensitivities as a politician. He was using it to his advantage. So now we have a 10-year-old Leia doing the same thing, and we wonder how come she becomes the youngest senator by A New Hope. Well, here we go. This is why.
Right.
And
but she is definitely exhibiting those same senses that we'll see when she's like in Empire, where she senses Luke hanging.
She senses Luke.
Yep. So you're seeing that gift right there. So in my opinion, Leia is showing her force sensitive abilities before Luke was, or at least that's the way we're being shown.
And I would attribute that to her environment.
Yeah. And I think Bail is onto it. I think Bail realizes it, which could be why it is so important for him to get a hold of Obi-Wan, for Obi-Wan to go and find her.
But we have to explain why he needs to find her. We haven't gotten to that part yet.
Well, we'll get there.
We don't really know when that's from the second. Are we in the second episode?
No, we're still in the first episode.
We're working on it. on a small side note, okay, and I have.
Well, she's been taken.
Well, no, before that.
Okay.
When we first meet her and when she's running to the trees, I have to share this with the group, because UTFGers have all seen my grandson. He's been on and off the show a couple of times, and when I was watching the first episode, he was sitting next to me on the couch, eating a cracker. Just watching the show, not really, making much noise or anything.
Being a little baby.
Being a 9-month-old. Along comes the princess. Oh, well. Guess who starts cooing at the TV set and smiling and giggling and kicking his little arms and legs? Mm-hmm.
He's got his first little crush.
9 months old, and he loves Princess Leia. I cannot be a more proud grandmother, to be quite honest.
But considering that I grew up with the originals, so Leia was I always looked up to Leia. I always thought she was the most badass thing ever. I always looked up to Leia. I mean, it's like, even though I wanted to be a Jedi, I was like, no, Princess Leia. It's like I like her strength. Because, back then women have to be rescued, and Leia was never really that person.
No.
I dog the sequel movies. The best thing about the sequel movies was Carrie Fisher. And I can only imagine what her thoughts would be on Vivian Lyra Blair, who's playing Leia. I can only imagine what her thoughts would be. She is beaming with pride over this.
Right now, the fandom is pretty much very impressed with her.
Yeah.
They say that she's got Leia's mannerisms down, and she's got the feistiness down. So the fandom seems to be responding really well.
Yeah. I absolutely love her. And she was, I was actually
very surprised. I had no idea that Leia was going to show up. I had no idea that Bail Organa was there. All of the trailers was all about Luke and Obi-Wan looking over it, the Inquisitors, and Owen. I was surprised to see the Alderaan
and everything that goes with it. I was glad, because
it's nice to be surprised.
Knowing what we know about the family relationship. I mean, knowing you've got Luke, you've got Leia. we know who their parents are. We know how they came into the Star Wars realm and everything. And quite honestly, it doesn't make sense to have a story just about Luke. She is just as, if not more, important than Luke.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't think the story would be focused on either Luke or Leia. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I was very surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, I really thought it was going to be. I mean, when I saw the Inquisitors, I was like, okay, cool. We're going to see the hunt for for Obi-Wan, which we're getting. But I didn't, realize
they'd be using Leia as
a. I wonder how much she's going to be, because now that she's going to get him rescued and get her back to probably Alderaan, it's like I wonder how much she's going to be in the next 4 episodes.
Right.
Possibly more than we expect.
But since she's needing to be rescued, how did we get to this point?
One word and one word only.
One word only. Flee.
Well, because we have to be very. The things that I'm just kind of concerned about with how they're going through this is the idea that if we are trying to make a straight shot into A New Hope, you have. Where Ben's like going, where she addresses him as, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you served my father in the Clone Wars,
right?
And Ben's like, an Obi-Wan, that's a name I haven't heard in such a long time, So it's like it seems like they have to be separated in order for her, because she was so like, I'm not convinced you're a Jedi, and she announced to him he's Ben, but I think she's smart enough to figure out by the end of the 2nd episode who he really is.
Well, by the end of the 2nd episode, we're only just getting the Moff Gideon. So at this point, she still knows him as Ben. I suspect before we are said and done with the series, she will find out that this man.
But if she can read,
she knows.
She knows who he is. She just didn't believe him until, we're not in the 2nd episode yet?
No, not yet.
And if I recall, in A New Hope, she never got to meet him.
No, because she is in.
No, she saw him get cut down, right?
Right.
She saw him. No.
Did she not see that part? I can't remember.
Luke
she saw
is the
that
only
part.
one that sees him get.
No, that's right. She's already on the ship. She's already gotten on.
He's already running.
Well, she sees him fighting. Because they have to go to the ship.
She sees him fighting, but it probably doesn't register because she keeps on going. Luke is the one that stops and turns around and looks. And when Ben gets cut down, he yells, "No!" That's when Leia comes back and drags Luke up the ramp of the Millennium Falcon.
Well, I think that's more of her rebels, being in charge of the rebels, and understanding the great loss and sacrifice that she's helping Luke move forward.
But remember, also in Star Wars, she knows Ben is there because Luke
said, "I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here with Ben Kenobi. I have your R2 unit."
Yeah.
So she knows he's there, but she doesn't see him.
Right.
Not until all she sees is a hooded figure fighting Vader.
Right.
So she never got to literally
see him again.
Right, yeah. But yeah, flee.
But you gotta, it's like that's the reason why I'm trying to figure out exactly how much she's going to be in the next 4 episodes, because they gotta separate.
I suspect we're going to see her more. I have a feeling we're going to see the story with Obi-Wan and Leia establishing that relationship, because in the hologram she says, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars.
Right.
All right. So she knows exactly who Obi-Wan is.
Oh yeah, she does.
Okay. She knows he also goes by Ben Kenobi because there was that immediate recognition when he says, "I'm here with Ben Kenobi. I've got your R2 unit." So there has to be a bit more of a relationship going on here, I think, between Obi-Wan and Leia than between Luke and Obi-Wan.
Right.
She's also recording a 10-second message. She's got to get, she's doing a 10-second elevator.
It's a lot longer than 10 seconds.
It's a lot longer than 10
seconds. Come on, it's more than 10 seconds unless she's talking really fast.
What'd you say, Walt?
I was going to say it was longer than 10 seconds. It just got choppy,
Yeah.
after
She's
the
doing,
escape pod crash.
She's doing a 30-second elevator pitch with Imperials breathing down her throat, okay? So she's going right to the point. You served my father, she's thinking in my mind, you know who the hell I am. Yeah, come on.
You're my only hope.
Yeah. Help me, everyone. Help me, everyone.
Anyways, I love the girl who's playing Leia. I think she's great.
And I love
her sass.
I love the between her and her mother, her and Belle.
Sometimes her sass is a little annoying.
Yes,
and it's.
But
it's not a bad.
Who's had a 10-year-old?
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, but it's annoying, and I'm like,
Right?
because there are times when I'm sitting here going, "Listen up, little girl. If you don't shut up, I'm gonna take my belt off."
Yes, to the corner. Think about what you just said.
I'm going to give you. I'm going to knock you into the outer rims if you don't knock it off.
In the fandom, and a lot of the comments that I've read, a lot of people said that she is. First of all, they're saying she looks too young to be 10 years old, and then she's got too much. She's over the top with the sass, and I'm like, yeah, but 10-year-olds are pretty. They think they own the world sometimes.
Yeah, and also these. As Dirk likes to call them, these fan holes. These fan holes like to overthink a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because I've
done plenty of overthinking.
I mean, I've seen 10-year-olds in real life that have been, look at the mouth on you.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
So
you've learned
their thought patterns. It's like
you've learned some big words.
I kind of feel like people who are saying she's like too sassy and too, all that stuff for her age. I'm like, they don't have kids yet, or their kids are too young,
or they've never
wait till they get to that age,
or they've never been around kids.
Right?
They've never been around a 10-year-old with They've never been around a 10-year-old.
Oh yeah,
they've never been around
and 10-year-old girls are especially sassy.
Even worse, they've never been around anybody smart.
Exactly.
10-year-old girls are
I hate to
really
say it,
sassy.
but that right there is what it is. If
I love her to death. We must protect little Leia.
There's a. As you say,
I love her batteries not included. Little ship.
Lolo.
Yeah.
Which by the way, there are already toys for it out there. You can pre-order on Pulse. Yes.
Oh my God. I'll probably get one.
Yeah, I need one. I need a
yeah, let's talk about
let's just add more.
Let's talk about our kidnapper.
Oh yeah. You know what? I don't even know who those guys are. I was just like, kidnappers, bounty hunters.
That's Flea is Mariam.
That's Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I know that. I don't know the characters.
Oh, I don't know who the characters are either. I just went, what the hell? That's Flea.
Okay, I love Dirk's comment here.
He's so much better of an actor.
But I don't
terrible in the prequels.
I don't put too much blame on the actor who played Anakin. I put the blame on the director.
Oh yeah.
We all know who the director was because everybody in those
he did not Floyd, is that was
Jake Lloyd.
Jake Floyd. He didn't deserve the backlash.
He didn't deserve the backlash.
He didn't. And let's stop and talk about.
I thought he was actually a pretty good kid. I mean, he had the goofiness of the 10-year-old
same age.
Ships.
This is a kid that's at 10 years old flying a speeder, okay, through some of the hardest terrain on Tatooine. He knew how to build things automatically. This is the same 10-year-old that builds C-3PO. If you put him side by side, okay, if you put 10-year-old Anakin next to 10-year-old Leia,
right,
you got the same damn kid.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And here again, the fan.
Jake Floyd didn't deserve the crap that he got. I'm really
played,
disappointed that people were that killed.
Anakin exactly how he needed to play him. He played him as a precocious 10-year-old kid with abilities.
And
we're looking at the same thing with Leia. The only difference is Leia's abilities are more on.
We're also looking at.
But
We're also looking at better directing.
We have Deborah Chow who's directing.
Let's not think about the directing. We all know the directing in the Phantom Menace was horrible. Okay,
But
let's think about
the writers.
Yeah.
Writers. We got Filoni and Favreau. You know, and I don't know who was writing this, but it makes a huge difference when you give them good dialogue.
It does. You give them good dialogue, but let's look at the characters. Let's look at what we've got to work with. We are still looking at the same 10-year-old kid.
I think Jake Lloyd did fine.
He did fine too. I mean, because really, what it is everybody was just complaining about not so much him being the 10-year-old or looking too young.
They were like, he's whiny. He's going to be the biggest badass in the whole entire galaxy. Why is he crying?
And there's that, and then they were talking about the whole, just the acting in general. And it's like, if you look at those movies and see the directing of the acting, we didn't really get any good directing until the middle of the third movie. So, blame don't blame the actor. Don't blame the actor.
Go ahead and mess with Anakin. Go ahead.
I'm coming at you with my darksaber.
Anyway, but yeah, we get Flea as the lead kidnapper of Leia. Flea. You just need to break out the base,
I love how they said
it actually took Dan about 10 minutes to realize that was Flea.
Which is cool. That's totally cool. But my thing is with it's just because when I'm immersed in the stories, it doesn't matter to me who's playing them, even though it's really cool to see like people we know that just shows up, like with all the guest cameos, which we love, like Trejo in Book of Boba Fett. Got a crate, but. I'm really like when I'm watching it, I'm really paying attention to the story, and I'm trying to see how it fits, and I'm still like going, "Who is this guy?"
Well, they were hired, so
that's about it. I guess my thing is like I want to know who they are.
That's all we're given. We're given some generic bad guys.
Yeah, we are given.
Great.
Let's talk about that chase of a little kid through the mountains.
Yeah,
people are having some thoughts about that.
Well, first
it was an interesting one.
Anybody who has ever walked a wooded mountain trail,
has anybody ever chased kids?
Exactly, and especially a little kid that knows exactly where she's going and everything. Okay, the adult, they're going to trip and stumble.
Yeah.
I think it was fine.
I was fine with it.
It was fine. It was nothing like the scooter chase in Book of Boba Fett.
The fan holes are going to nitpick it apart matter what.
These are the same people who are like, we don't want to. We're tired of this kind of stuff in our stories, but we want it to be more realistic. But the more realistic you put stuff into things, they're like, well, we don't want that particular realistic.
Well, look, you can't have it both ways. You either leave it alone or you get it realistic. I mean, you don't like a scooter?
Sit back.
Like a scooter race?
Sit back and in instances get rid of
scooter race was bad.
Your beliefs. Your realistic
No,
beliefs.
I mean, for me, it's the whole thing is just that whenever I watch these shows, I end up reading a bunch of comments. So I'm just like, why are we all complaining now? But there's been one area that I have complained about, and I continue to complain about in the Book of Boba Fett.
The scooter chase.
The scooter chase was just the most ridiculous thing on my planet. I was like, somebody crash and burn those things, scratch them up, blast them in a hole, make them look more realistic.
I was pleased to see.
I thought I was watching the Minions.
I was pleased to see Vespas in Star Wars.
Yes, but let's face it, for Tatooine, those things were way too shiny.
They were that's why I said put them in a sandblaster. Do something.
Yeah, but you also have to take a look at the characters, the type of characters that were writing those things. They would be very prideful in keeping those things shiny, no matter where they are. Because if you've ever been around sport import tuners,
But the speed of those things,
I didn't
in
mind
that whole chase,
didn't mind it.
No, I was having an issue. But I was so happy that they brought in Mando and flying through with his new little ship. So I'm cool with that. Besides the point, back in the chase is fine. She's kidnapped and she's now taken, and Bail takes a trip.
Yep.
To convince poor Obi-Wan. Now, the thing that's interesting, throughout the entire first episode, Obi-Wan doesn't use his Force abilities.
No.
At all.
And through most of the second episode.
Even when he's confronted by a Jedi that's on the run.
Yep. He's just like, bury your lightsaber and go have a normal life.
We are looking at an Obi-Wan that still has not gotten over his failure as Anakin's master.
Yep.
And the loss of a man he truly considered his brother. Because remember, Obi-Wan doesn't know Anakin's alive. We all know he's alive because we all know he's Darth Vader. Right. But at this point, Obi-Wan still doesn't know Anakin.
He thinks he died on
Mustafar.
He believes he died there.
On Mustafar. So he is still heartbroken. He is still, when he makes the comment to Luke, when Uncle Owen makes the comment to Luke in A New Hope, he died about the same time as your father, in reference to Obi-Wan.
Right.
It's seeing Obi-Wan like this, knowing what he has gone through, that line is very poignant. Yep. And it's very true.
Yep.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, as we knew him, the Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi, died on Mustafar with Anakin.
Yep.
I agree. He's just now Ben.
Here's another thing that makes,
even though he keeps going, I think he keeps wondering if he keeps trying to reach out to Qui-Gon.
Right.
He does, because we see him trying to do that, but I don't think it's all almost half-hearted.
Yeah. And this also leads to, should I even bring this up to Luke in the last sequels?
Yes, because Luke is dealing with the same thing. With as much as we don't like the sequels, we're seeing Luke dealing with the same kind of guilt over Kylo Ren, over his nephew. Dirk brought up he hasn't fired up that saber yet, and that's going to be a big moment. Agreed. He's going through the hero's journey. He denied his quest before he made the decision to go off planet. Yes. So the next,
because he's already told.
And then at the end of the episode, we see him leave the planet after Bail comes and talks to him.
Yep.
Personally. Because it's that big of a deal.
You know how important Leia is at this point. I mean, we all know how important young Princess Leia is in the first place. But for Bail to turn around and say, I'm not accepting you saying no, and coming and talking to Obi-Wan face to face with information.
Well, because Obi-Wan's like, I have to protect the boy. And Bail is like, well, what about his sister too?
Yeah. Not only that, he's taking a big risk by exposing himself being with a Jedi.
Right.
He's just taking a big risk exposing himself. Well, because the Inquisitors,
I think the Inquisitors are tracking lightsabers. That's the reason why Obi-Wan buried it.
Well, and not even that. Let's stop and think of who the Inquisitors are, okay? Let's stop and think about who the Inquisitors actually work for. The Inquisitors work for Darth Vader.
Proper.
Bail Organa was a friend of Darth Vader. So if Vader wants to find Obi-Wan, let's track Bail.
Right.
Big risk going to Tatooine. Big risk.
So it wasn't it wasn't Vader doing that. That was Sister 3.
Right, but she reports to Darth Vader.
She reports to Vader.
That's the reason why I have some really interesting thoughts about her.
Yeah. She reports.
We're getting there.
Or I should say, they all report directly to Vader.
They all do. Yeah, the Inquisitors work for Vader. They don't work for the Emperor.
Nope.
They work for Vader. So they're walking around with information that the Emperor may or may not give to them.
Right.
You know, Darth Vader is definitely a very different apprentice to Palpatine than Darth Maul was. Very different. He has his own agenda on top of everything else, which
has been extensively
very Sith-like
dove into.
Yes.
You know, for in the video games,
and the
especially the Fallen Jedi, the Star Killer, all of that. So Vader is always trying to find a way to take out Palpatine.
one of the best Star Wars novels that is considered non-canon that I ever read was the one that was simply called Darth Vader, which details the first 6 months in the suit. If that doesn't put a perspective on this particular character, then you're missing half of who he is. And if you guys have never read it, I highly recommend it. I believe the author is James Stovall. But it really puts a perspective on what Anakin is going through those first 6 months, both mentally and physically, as he's getting used to the suit. Okay? This is a man who is a Jedi who had 3/4 of his body burned, lost 3 of his limbs, and now has to relearn how to use the Force using artificial limbs, artificial respiration, artificial feeding, the whole 9 yards.
Well, that's what that's what Deborah Chow has alluded to, is that we're going to get some of that in this series.
The very last scene of, I think it was episode 2, Walt.
Yep.
Where we see, that very last scene, which we'll talk about later. She is dead on the money, because here it is, still 10 years later, and he's still dealing with it.
Right.
You see him still dealing with it 25 years later in Empire Strikes Back, when you get the glimpse of him in the hyperbolic chamber.
Yeah.
Okay. So Vader has a different agenda than the Emperor. Yeah.
Well, they're going to start pushing it forward. Also, a lightsaber is the biggest, brightest neon sign.
And yes,
this is true. It's why they bury it. Which, of course, sis, you've mentioned it. How many lightsabers are in that box?
The lightsaber in the box that Obi-Wan goes and digs out of a desert planet with a tiny shovel. I love you, Obi-Wan, but come on, man, you need a bigger shovel, dude. There are.
But how long he was digging, though? So
probably a while. I mean, we all know how sand works.
I mean, he didn't dig it very deep with that little tiny shovel.
Use the phone.
It was pretty shallow, but I dismissed that.
But how many lightsabers are in it, and whose lightsabers?
We have 2 lightsabers in that box. Obi-Wan, obviously.
Right.
And if y'all don't know who the other lightsaber belongs to,
y'all need to stop watching TV.
I'm taking away your Star Wars cards, okay?
Just turn off your TV, unplug it from the wall, chuck it out the window.
Lightsaber number 2, Anakin's.
Yep. It's the one that will be given to Luke later down the road.
The original one that Luke gets. It's the blue lightsaber Luke gets.
It's the one he walked off with.
Not the size of the shovel, it's the motion.
Not the size of the shovel. I think you're thinking of something else, honey, okay?
Whoa. Yeah, if those of you who don't remember, Obi-Wan walked off with Anakin's lightsaber.
Anakin's lightsaber from Mustafar. Yes, he brought it with him.
Because he figured Anakin was going to die. So he took it.
Yes. Yeah, remember.
He couldn't finish Anakin at that moment.
No, he couldn't.
Because it was too painful.
It was too painful.
So it just took it. And then, of course, Palpatine found him.
Yes, Palpatine. And we all know how Anakin lived.
Because of his hate. His hate kept him alive.
Yeah, well, Palpatine also kind of tapped into the connection with Padme and drained her of whatever living force she had to save Anakin.
Yeah.
And if y'all don't believe me, we will argue over this, and I will come with charts.
I'm not in an argument right now.
Where's my blackboard?
My whiteboard. I will
Whiteboard.
double check.
Do a bullet point and float.
So second episode.
Second episode.
You know,
Dun,
So the
dun,
first
dun.
episode I loved. I really did. It was
That
like
first
it was
episode
so
was a
nice
great-
that it was 53 minutes and not
Yes.
30 minutes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So our second episode, we start off on our next planet. I can't remember. Anyway, what do you think about the cameo on the street begging?
I loved that.
Who was it? I didn't recognize him.
Oh, you didn't see it.
You didn't
Who
see
I
it?
saw the beggar.
It was
What kind of armor is he wearing? Hold on, Walt. What kind of armor is he wearing, sis?
It was a clone trooper. A
What
clone.
color?
she didn't recognize the 501st colors.
I did
Five
not.
First colors.
So
Tamora Morrison. It was a member of the 501st, and
That was tomorrow?
that was
Yeah.
Tamora.
that was tomorrow.
Holy crap!
Remember
I didn't
the
recognize him
501st.
with all the hair, so it was.
The
wasn't
hair and the
Rex.
beard. So got a feeling it might have been Rex.
That's
think
what
it
I
was
was
Rex?
thinking too. That's
It
what I was
might-
thinking too.
It could have been Rex.
I looked at Dan and I said, "Did Rex make it out of Clone Wars?" And we
He
kinda
did.
looked
Yes,
at each other and
he
were
He
like,
did.
Yes,
he made it through
He
Rebels.
was in
He was
Rebels.
in Rebels.
He was in
Oh,
Rebels.
that's right. He was in Rebels.
He
Okay,
was in
yeah.
Rebels.
So yes,
And-
Rex is out, and Tomorrow said that he would play Rex and Ahsoka if they want him in there.
Well,
Yep.
we might be getting Rex and Obi-Wan, which I'm good with, which will be
So
interesting.
that's
to
why
see what
Obi-Wan gave him
happens.
a little like.
That look, yeah, because he was
I know
he was a
you.
clone trooper, yeah.
And the clone
Because
trooper
I
was
saw the
looking at
clone
Obi-Wan.
helmet, but I
Yeah.
totally like it didn't. It went.
Because see, Rex, at the end of Rebels, we find out that Rex was the bearded man in Return of the Jedi.
Ah.
The bearded
right,
rebel.
Okay.
The bearded
So
rebel,
that-
yeah.
Yeah.
Was Rex.
He's
So
got
Rex-
the longest lifespan of any clone.
Yeah.
No, I think Cody's is actually longer
Really
because I think Cody is still alive too.
interesting.
Yeah. That was
Because they supposedly
Cody's
like
alive.
the accelerated aging.
right. They did.
And yes,
Yes, he did give him
he
money.
did. He still gave money to the clone trooper. Yep.
Yep.
Because that it was like right at that point, like Obi-Wan was like kind of like asking about like Qui-Gon, and then the guy said something. I literally thought like a Qui-Gon was going to like show up, and then it was the clone trooper.
I thought this was actually better. I actually
I-
liked the tie-in with the clone trooper, especially with the member of the 501st.
So now I understand why Obi-Wan gave him that look.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he recognized him.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got to go back and watch it again.
Yep.
I have to, anyways. I got a friend who wants to watch it.
Yeah, and in fact, there's I don't know if you knew this, but they've started advertising the second season of Bad Batch, which that series explores the whole clone trooper, stormtrooper.
I love the Bad Batch.
Oh,
So-
Bad Batch is great. I love Bad Batch.
So we'll see more of that. I mean, we did see Rex in that, so
Yes,
we'll have to come back and do some spoiler alert on that one, on that series when it comes back. out.
most definitely. I love how the world is tying together. It's not so disjointed. Love it.
Honestly, I don't
Where's
think
the
it's a
retirement
retirement
plan?
plan with the Empire.
Well,
Yeah.
we knew from the Bad Batch just what the Empire thought of those clone troopers
Right.
and what their
They were
retirement plan
expendable.
was.
End of sentence. They were expendable.
They gave
Oh, they were more than expendable. They just
take a
didn't-
little of the Death Star money.
they did not want them because of their inherent need to be good.
Right.
Yeah. As soon as, I mean, let's face it, we in Revenge of the Sith, okay, we see Cody, he gets Order 66, but Cody actually hesitates before he shoots at Obi-Wan.
Right.
Okay, so there's the first indication that, you know, what we've seen in Bad Batch about the clones with the chips, you know, with the chips, with the Order 66 and the whole 9 yards. That's the first indication that we see that the clones can be infallible, that they can break the
Clone lives matter.
brainwashing. Walt, I need a T-shirt that says that.
I think somebody's already done that.
I need Cody and Rex with that Clone Lives Matters on it. There you go.
Well, a lot of the clones that especially worked really close with Kenobi or Ahsoka, they really were fighting the chips.
The inhibitor chips. They were trying very hard.
They were fighting very hard.
Rex really fought. Rex was the one who probably fought the hardest because he had already known something about that ahead of time because of Fives.
They tried.
Because of Fives,
Yes, Fives, because he's the one that found it.
So
Rex was also watching Anakin very closely and watching Anakin go down that path of the dark side, and he didn't want anything to do with it.
Right. So those of you who haven't watched Clone Wars, you need to go watch Clone Wars. If anything, watch the final season. The final season, that is? Season 7?
Season 7.
Season 7.
And then you watch season 1
because that'll catch you up on the Ahsoka storyline, the Bad Batch storyline, and the Clone Wars. Yeah,
and it'll catch you up as to why there are no more clones with the stormtroopers. But yeah, Bad Batch takes place right after, like we're talking right after Order 66.
Which also explains why the kill rate for stormtroopers went from here to here.
Right.
Stormtroopers.
Oh no, more like actually you mean like from here to here.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, not from here to here, from here to here. So yeah.
All right. So anyway,
of Dio.
The planet?
Yeah.
Reminded me of Madripoor.
It reminded me of the shady underworld on Coruscant.
There's that too, but more open. Whereas Coruscant is like really clean and very mechanical on top, and then underneath is like really dirty and grimy.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking the down dirty.
But this one is just like that all the way over.
Yeah.
It's like it reminds me of Times Square back in the day, back in the 70s.
I was like, oh, this reminds me of Firefly.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah, but Firefly, but everything.
It was that
Star
city,
Wars,
where you got all the boards and all the different, like in Firefly, it's all Chinese and stuff, but these are all it just kind of had that vibe, that kind of like down dirty Western.
Apparently, it was modeled after downtown Tokyo. I think that's what it said.
I can see
that's
that.
What I find. That's probably why I got the Firefly vibe.
I had that vibe too. I had that vibe. That was pretty cool.
It was cool.
It was cool.
It was definitely a shady planet.
Our fake Jedi.
The spice.
With Spice.
The Spice, where she's like, "Here's your free sample."
Yeah.
How convenient was that?
Yeah. And when he tells her that he's looking for his daughter, meaning i.e. Leia.
Yeah.
And she says, "You're not gonna find her here.
Find her here. I was
someone's daughter once too.
Somebody's daughter." And then she's like, "Here."
I was waiting for him to say, "You don't want these death sticks."
I was waiting for that too.
Yeah.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
You don't need these death sticks.
I don't need you. I
don't need this spice.
That is probably still one of my favorite Obi-Wan Kenobi lines from all of the movies.
You don't want to sell death sticks.
You don't want to sell me death sticks. I don't want to sell you death sticks. You want to go home and reevaluate your life. I want to go home and reevaluate my life.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Right. Exactly.
But they were!
I was so waiting for that, and it didn't happen. I was so disappointed, and she gave him a free bag of spice.
Well, we still have
conveniently comes to play later.
We still have 4 more episodes, so
we'll get there when we're getting there.
Yeah,
speaking of spice, let's talk about the Spice Meth Lab on Dio.
Yes.
Oh, and how he did use the Force to blow that crap up.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Actually, before that, let's talk about our fake Jedi.
Oh yes, the fake Jedi.
Haja Estri. Yes.
That was
I didn't, I was actually okay with him. I'm like, okay. I said, yeah, he's kind of shady, but he really is trying to help people, so I'm cool with him.
Right. I actually thought how they ended up using that character and by the end of that episode was pretty good.
Yeah. I liked it. I liked his arc. I liked where he went.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that even though he was doing shady things, it wasn't for bad reasons.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. He was trying to fill a gap that was needed.
It was also a little bit of much needed like comedy relief.
Right. It was the magic tricks. It's
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk in. Let me open all the shades.
My favorite line was do I feel guilty about what I do? Sometimes.
No, sometimes.
Right? He's honest.
Do I like credits?
You can't fault him for being honest. He's like, yeah, I like the money. It buys me things.
Yeah.
I like the credits. It buys me things. He's honest.
Yeah, he's really honest. So, it's like you can't fault him for that. You can't.
Well, we're going to get fake Jedi out there. We're probably going to see more of these kinds of characters now that there is a gap that's been left with the loss of the Jedi Order. As we start seeing the Resistance build, maybe some of these characters are actually the foundations of the upcoming Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, the rebellion. Yeah,
I'd like to
see. This isn't the Resistance. This is definitely the Rebel Alliance at this point.
Yeah, I want to say so. We're talking about Easter eggs and everything. I liked the Jurassic Park Easter egg, the Velociraptor bounty hunter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. That was.
I mean, if you wanted to see various bounty hunters, the second episode is the episode to see all the various bounty hunters. I mean,
we get him, we get
I would have liked to have seen more creatures in that episode.
Oh yeah.
Get to see
there was I thought there was like an overabundance of humans.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have humanoids. I'd have liked to have seen more different creatures.
You guys do realize that we did get a Faline in these 2 episodes, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was just making sure because that's kind of important. I mean, the most well-known Faline that we've met throughout the 40 some odd years of Star Wars is Prince Zizor from Shadows of the Empire. One of the few books that is still considered canon in the sorry, I have an issue with the whole the books are not canon thing.
Yeah, but they choose bits and pieces from the books to throw in because
they're cherry picking. They're cherry picking, and it drives me nuts. Sorry,
because they know that some of the characters in the stories were like, these were actually pretty good, so let's squeeze it in there.
Right. Well, I think the thing is that I think when they went, because we're so used to seeing such a diverse group of when you're watching a scene, you always see like multiple species and humans. You just see them all intermixed. And then when we went to that scene where it was just like all these people in that street, and it was like rarely you didn't really see any other species. It was mostly human, and I was like, well, that kind of like now stands out like a sore thumb.
No,
we're so used to seeing.
Yes, we're used to seeing it, but there is actually a reason behind that. Stop and think about this for a minute.
I don't know. You tell me.
Palpatine is a xenophobe.
Right.
Palpatine was established as a xenophobe way back when. Okay, so if you are not humanoid, if you are not humanoid, okay, Palpatine doesn't want you anywhere near him. He doesn't want you around. Right. So as you start going from Coruscant out, okay, you start seeing more population of humans and humanoids and less aliens as you're in you're in the core planets, and you start seeing the aliens in the outer regions and the outer core.
That's also
the outer rim.
That's also one of the reasons why he wanted to get rid of the clones, because they're all the same. Yeah. Or so to speak. They considered them as what do you call it? Organic droids. So
no, they were not considered human.
Right.
He did not like droids either. They were an inferior species to him. Now, if y'all, people, I've actually had people turn around and say, "Oh, but he hired bounty hunters." No, Vader hired the bounty hunters, and all the bounty hunters were droids or other aliens. But Palpatine, okay, you look at who Palpatine keeps around him. All right, there's a perfect scene in Return of the Jedi where you see some of Palpatine's counselors walk away. They are all human.
All of them are human. All of the majority of his governors and officers were all human. There were very few.
Well, I mean, yeah, because if you're looking at, like the Death Star.
Well, and there were very few that made it up the ranks. Thrawn was one of the exceptions.
Thrawn was an exception. Yeah,
Thrawn was one of the exceptions because something about Thrawn, Palpatine really liked. So, yeah, he's xenophobe.
He was a master. He
was a master tactician.
Yeah.
The other thing that you probably will see, if they stay true to form, you will not see any women within the hierarchy of the Imperial ranks. He was also very against women being in high-ranking seats.
There are very few. There are some that are in there, but
very few. Really, we don't see a female Imperial in any of the movies until the first of the sequel movies, when we get Captain
Phasma.
Well, there are some in Clone Wars, or not Clone Wars, Rebels.
In Rebels, yeah. But
like
again,
I said, very
few
few.
and far between.
Very few and far between.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why we like the Rebels.
Yeah. Well, and also, if you think about what the Rebel Alliance is made up of, most of the leaders within the Rebel Alliance, not counting Leia and Mon Mothma, you have Admiral Akbar, who is, help me out here. Brain cells are dead.
Crap.
Yeah, but we're talking now, so it's like when we get off, I'll remember everybody's species.
Right.
Because we're talking
many
here,
many Bothans died to bring us this information. Okay, right. So we've got Bothans, we've got
calamari.
The calamari, that's what it was. Because there were two species of calamari on calamari.
Yeah. So we see in the bulk of the rebellion ships that we see in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, they're crewed by aliens. This is all part of the xenophobic cleansing that Palpatine put into place when he became Emperor.
Yep. He was not a fan. He was not a fan of non-humanoid.
No. Well, let's get back to what do we? So we get past the spice.
Well, we have the
spice meth lamp.
Right. So he goes in and he Obi-Wan goes in and blows up the spice lab. But we learn actually at the end of episode 1 who kidnapped, who ordered it, which was
Reva. Yep.
Right. So now she's coming. So apparently she's been notified and she's on her way.
Right.
Along with everybody. So Obi-Wan's running against time, not knowing that he's being hunted and pursued as he's trying to save her, because he doesn't realize it's a trap.
And what is the first thing?
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Somebody should have yelled that to Flea and his buddy.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Obi-Wan. It's a trap.
It's a trap. Look, it's a trap.
Stoned Flea on the floor.
That was awesome.
Right.
I loved it. That's where I was like, the spice came into play later, because he was totally, Mm-hmm.
And of course, he finds our illustrious princess, and what is the first thing?
She's already broken free.
Yep.
So she's very resourceful,
and she wallops our dear hero.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know.
No,
she's like, "Where's the army? They're supposed to be sending an army."
Send an army.
Right.
Yeah, you got army to one, honey. Sorry. All right, look. You got the best Jedi besides Mace Windu, okay? I mean, come on.
Mace is not dead.
Now, this is when I say,
Mace Windu lives.
This is
he will not be dead in my head. There's no way.
This is when I say Leia became annoying to me.
Yeah.
But in a good way, but she was still annoying because
she was a typical precocious 10-year-old who's expecting her father to come in with,
guns blazing,
and she gets this haggard looking dude.
This crotchety old man.
Was crotchety old haggard looking dude.
Basically, he's like going, "I'm Ben Kenobi. Your father sent me. I'm here to save you." And she's like, "Really?
Yeah.
Who the hell are
you?
Aren't you a little short to be a Jedi?"
Right. It's that moment. It's that moment.
Yeah.
It's that moment.
So basically, now she's getting in a situation. So when we see her in A New Hope, we know that she has been in this situation before.
Which explains the whole nonchalant leaning up on the elbow with the arm draped over her leg. Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? Because she's like, oh God, here we go again.
Right.
Makes you wonder how many other times throughout Leia's life
got herself in that situation where somebody has to go save her.
Yeah. And what I mean by this is the part where she gets annoying is, they're trying to escape.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, in order for you to escape, you've got to keep a low profile and everything. And she's like, no, I want to go touch that. I want to go see this. I want to go see all that food. I want to do this. I just want to run around, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, do you understand?
Nope.
You were just kidnapped. And it's like, no, because she wasn't scared the whole time. And he's like, look, and that's the part where it gets lovingly annoying.
Yeah, and I think in reality, if any kid who's been stolen from their parents and stuff, in reality would be frightened.
Right.
And so, but this is Leia.
Right.
And this is, a story. So they're going to put her more as a rambunctious kid who doesn't realize that she's in trouble.
That she's in trouble. Yeah. She's been that protected. She doesn't realize that she's in trouble.
Exactly. She's been sheltered.
Right.
Very sheltered.
Bale and Breha have sheltered her.
Like I said, lovingly annoying.
Yes. I'm not going to disagree the fact that 10-year-olds can't be pains in the butt.
Oh yeah, she was
and annoying is all get out.
She was definitely annoying, and Obi-Wan's doing his
We are
best
just so relieved as parents when they make it past that stage.
Yeah. And Obi-Wan is doing his best to keep from making a scene.
I mean, he even tries to put her in a corner and she won't stay.
Right.
Sit there. She takes off.
And then she takes off again. And I think like when she takes off that second time, which was the worst time for her to take off, is when like my annoyance level was like, oh my God, just be still, listen, kid, be still. Yeah, just listen for once.
Well, I think after she fell off the edge.
When she got herself in trouble.
And
in more trouble.
In more trouble, and not in a way that's helpful.
Right.
They set her up point. They set up her waywardness in the first episode. I think they did what they needed to narratively to justify her actions with Obi-Wan. And yes, it is a very good drama.
I do agree.
Right.
It is very good drama.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm like, what are your thoughts on how they wrote Leia's character?
That's what we're sitting here talking about.
They
did.
Yeah.
That's what we're sitting here talking about.
I love her. I personally love the snark, and she looks like she can be a young Leia.
Yeah, it's a great character.
I think the girl actually is 9, her real age. The actress.
The way her waywardness set up in the first episode. One of the things I really loved is the very first things we see her doing. She's sitting there and she's watching the ships leaving the spaceport, and she's talking to Lola.
And here's the thing. That reminds me of me when I was a kid, when my dad used to say, hey, I'm going to get you out of school early and we're going to go to the airport and we're just going to watch planes come and go. And he would quiz me on what's that airline? And I would be like, that's Eastern Airlines. What kind of airplane? That's a Boeing 727. Okay, what's that coming in? That's TWA, Trans World Airlines, and so I totally identified with Leia sitting up in the tree.
And Bale was like, what ship came in?
Right.
Bale was like totally into that.
Right. So
and that established the relationship between Bail and Leia right there as well. Okay.
exactly.
But
totally love that scene.
okay, Eschelle says, I feel she looks too young and acts way too mature. Okay, so Eschelle, stop and think about this. You are raised in a privileged household with tutors and, people with money. She is very precocious. And we were talking about how there are 10-year-olds that are that precocious. God knows, I honestly think I was one. Maybe not quite as annoying. And I did listen to my parents because, I was going to get my butt smacked if I didn't. But, this is also a character that we see become the youngest senator.
She's being groomed
in the Empire. She is being groomed. So
but it's also like with her, with this that where I feel like she's exhibits her force sensitivities with like her cousin, like literally like reading his mind and telling him his fears.
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way to her understanding other people's characters, and who they are.
All the big words I possibly can.
Don't use those big words with me.
Don't you start with me, girl. Let's stop and think about this for a minute. Say Palpatine didn't overthrow, okay, and we still have the Jedi Order, and Luke and Leia were identified. Can you imagine the kind of Jedi she would have been?
Well, kinda.
According to
I think they would. I
more powerful than Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she'd be more like Anakin, and Luke would be more. He wouldn't be like Anakin. He's got a different aspect. He's got more of Padme's gentleness.
I would say so too.
Yes.
Leia has more of Luke's adventurous
and
desires to get things done. She has this thing. It's like, I think this is right. If she feels something is right, she's going to do it, whether it's right or wrong.
Right. So
that's very Anakin.
Yeah.
And Luke is very much like Padme.
I think Luke is very much like Padme.
She would have been a force to reckon with as a Jedi.
Yep. Which kind of makes sense.
But she'll be groomed, and then she'll have the wits and the smarts of Padme as a senator.
Right.
Which kind of makes me think as to why in like the sequels that shall not be named, it makes sense why she chose not to continue her Jedi training.
Because she knew she was so much like her father. Yeah. And she never, from the time she learned that Vader was Anakin Skywalker and her father, she wanted nothing to do with that legacy other than her brother.
Yep.
That's it.
It makes sense. I just wish they could have.
She resented it.
I just wish that they had written it better.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's like everything that we all know about how Padme or how Leia is with Vader and stuff. It's more about what was in the books. It's never, it's never really spelled out. The one thing that irritates me about the sequel trilogy is that literally they have to write books to explain what they did in the movie.
Right.
Well, they just, went with the books that were already written. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
Did I say that again?
Right. So it's like, I think more of us, people who really dived into the history, we already know it. But a lot of people this is probably one of the failings of why, in the second movie when Leia was shot out into space and then she uses the Force to get back, people were like, no, foul, cry foul, cry foul. But anybody who's like read the books understands that she does have some Force abilities.
She does have Force ability, but if she had stopped her Force training, she would not have been at that level, and that's where I cry foul with that. She
that's fine.
Have been at that level. That level to be able to save yourself like that is Jedi Knight or higher level. Jedi Master level even. Okay, not at the level where Leia still was. And yes, right there is, there's such big foul.
She does have the ability, and a lot of people didn't know that if they haven't paid attention to any of the books or any of the extended universe. They didn't know.
No. They had to have paid attention to Empire Strikes Back. That's it.
But they only got that she just felt. Not like she's force lifting things. And
Return of the Jedi. She looks at Luke and she said, when he says, "I'm your brother," she goes, "I knew. I think I've always known." We see some of that again.
But it doesn't mean that she has. It doesn't it was like she's force sensitive. I mean, they don't really fully go into it.
No, they don't say it.
So that's the reason why. If you're just a casual viewer, you would not have.
You wouldn't have. Yeah, you wouldn't have known it. I mean, there's all these little lines. I mean, if you will not turn to the dark side.
They are. Yeah, they called it a part. Yes.
Yeah,
they call it part 1, part 2.
We call them episodes because we're normal people.
But they did call it part 1, part 2.
I'm not changing it.
And this is also a finite series, so there's not going to be a second season or anything like that, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with. We don't really need another season. I mean,
I could use Obi-Wan all the time.
Yes, you could.
I would like to see them explore something else.
Can we have him more? I would like him more.
I'm kind of really ready to leave the whole Skywalker story behind. So, and everything associated.
I think that's one of the reasons why I liked Bad Batch so much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to explore some of these, what's it from the Mandalorian?
Din Djarin.
Easy.
He's going to be the Mandalore.
Yeah.
We're going to Mandalore.
Yeah.
Mariam, deep breath, sis.
Oh my God.
I mean, hey, what is it? Everybody was at the Star Wars. Was it the Star Wars celebration?
Did you watch that?
No, I didn't watch it, but
oh my God.
I was
I'm so excited.
Looking at all of what is it, Katie Sackhoff, because I'm a Katie Sackhoff fan. She was there with her now platinum blonde hair.
Yeah.
For something else.
They released a poster of the season 3, and she's on the throne.
We're getting Bo-Katan in season 3.
And we are getting Bo-Katan, and they are going to Mandalore.
Yeah.
All right. Back to Obi-Wan.
I know.
We took that fork in the road again.
So our episode ends with the third sister informing Obi-Wan that Anakin Darth Vader was still alive.
Before we even tackle that, let's talk about third sister.
Let's finally get to
because Mariam is exploding over there, and
finally get to third sister.
I love the third sister.
She's great.
I
think she's got big issues, but I think the thing is if you noticed about how the Grand Inquisitor literally talks down to her, and he says, "You came from the gutter,"
right?
Meaning that I don't think she came from the temple.
I don't think
she didn't come from the temple. She was plucked off the street somewhere as being force sensitive.
Yeah.
Because they all look down on her. They're like, "You're not officially trained. You just here because of some fluke." And she's very resentful of that. And she's got an axe to grind. She's got something to prove.
Okay. But here, being devil's advocate here, if she's not from the temple, then why does she have such a hard-on for Obi-Wan?
Yeah, that's my question.
Because my guess is this. My guess is that Vader found her and brought her in. So these guys, so he's like, "Here, you guys got to train her." And now they're feeling like, "Well, what? You think you think you're so much better than us?" And it's like, "You're from the dirt. You're from the gutter." I think Vader found her and brought her in. She's not from the temple. When he's out there hunting Jedi and doing all that stuff, he senses her. He senses her anger. He sees her determination. And he brings her into the fold and then hands them over to the Inquisitors to train her. My thought, my speculation, my opinion.
I think she may be one of those kids that was running.
See, I agree with Walt. I think one of the kids.
I think she's was found by Vader.
Let's
see where they're going to take it. I'm excited.
Definitely, I think she was definitely found by Vader, but I also think she was one of the kids that escaped. Because why show those kids?
I mean, other than just Nari, there's got to be more than just one of those kids involved in this situation.
One of those kids involved in running has got to be her.
I'll have to watch that first episode again. Now the kids had all the helmets on, so I got to see
there is a little black girl in one of those.
There's two.
But I still I don't feel like she's from the temple.
I got a feeling she could be from the temple and is pretty pissed off that Obi-Wan didn't come back to save them.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm
excited to find out what it is, but that's just my thought pattern.
Or she was, those kids were found by Vader.
Yeah.
And, maybe even that early, Anakin starts having the idea, well, wait a minute.
Inquisitors.
What if I tell them this? Will they follow me? Will they go with me? Why do I have to kill them all? Maybe we can turn some of them.
Yep.
Well, you see, you're assuming that Anakin had mercy at that time during Order 66, because in the last episode, Anakin, took down all those younglings.
He took down the younglings, but these are older Padawans.
So I don't know. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll have to.
Padme said it herself. They're still good in him.
And
the whole time he was doing it, he had tears in his eyes. So
Luke has said it. They're still good in him.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I agree that Reva has come from the temple. I believe that, yes, there are some kids that came from the temple, but I'm not sure. But I definitely think that she has some personal connection to Anakin, because I think Anakin sees something in her.
And I think she's got some personal with Obi-Wan as well.
Well, the reason why it's personal, because she's trying to prove to Anakin that whatever he's done for her was the right decision. So if she knows anything, so she has to know about the Obi-Wan Anakin connection to go after him. And the Inquisitors should know too. Why did they give up so easy? Were they told not to go after Obi-Wan?
That's the impression that I'm getting, is that they were told not to go after Obi-Wan.
Right. That's what I'm getting too.
Because it would make sense for Anakin to want to go after Obi-Wan himself.
Right.
Okay. Anakin still thinks that, Obi-Wan turned Padme against him. That Obi-Wan turned all of them against him.
Right.
The entire Jedi Council.
Yep.
Okay. So he definitely has an axe to grind with Obi-Wan.
Oh, yeah.
And now he has an even bigger axe to grind with Obi-Wan, because he left him on Mustafar, burning up to a crispy critter.
No arms and legs.
No arms and legs. Took his lightsaber. Took his woman. Took his droids. I mean, come on.
Supposedly took his woman. He
took his woman back out away from Mustafar.
He didn't take his woman because,
Well, he only choked her while pregnant.
That bastard.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, it's that twisted thing. It's like, he is. I'm going to try to kill you because you're against me. But then it's like, oh my God, Obi-Wan, you turned her against me.
Yeah, so I don't know what
Either way, Anakin has an axe to grind with Obi-Wan. And I really think Anakin would want to go after Obi-Wan himself.
Oh, gosh, I think there's no doubt about it. But I really think that when it comes to Reva, I mean, and here's just what if Reva is right now being set up in the story arc to be, first of all, do you think the Inquisitor's dead?
The Grand Inquisitor?
I don't know. That's the thing that I'm getting at.
We didn't see him die. We just saw him got stabbed.
his character is slightly different from the one we've seen in Rebels, appearance-wise, that is. So
I can't tell you if he's alive or dead.
So I don't know if he's alive or if he's dead, because this takes place before Rebels, and we had the Grand Inquisitor in Rebels. So is this the same Grand Inquisitor? So
You guys take one of these through your chest. Do you think you live? I'm just curious.
Well, it could be cauterized.
I mean, Darth Maul was cut.
Darth Maul was cut in half. He lived.
Darth Maul was cut in half, and he made it. Yeah.
And just like Anakin, Darth Vader, his hate kept him alive. Yes. So it could happen.
It doesn't seem like he's dead.
I don't think he's dead either.
It doesn't seem like he's dead.
And if he's not dead, he's definitely going to be pissed. So
right.
Oh yeah.
But in some ways, I kind of feel like, now this is just conjecturing and stuff and just thinking. It's like, but I kind of feel like that. What if I feel like it's the third sister might follow the a redemption arc.
I think so too.
Yes.
I feel like she's going to be redeemed.
I think so too. Because,
we'll see if we're right.
Right.
But I feel like that she's going to be on the redemption arc. It's going to be like what is her name? Bald hair. She went on a redemption arc. Double red sabers.
I know who you're talking about.
What is her name? Come on.
Ventress.
Gosh, Ventress. Jeez.
Ventress.
It's been so long. That's a series I want to see. I want to see a story of Ventress. Anyway.
But Ventress went on a redemption arc, and I feel like Reva might be on that redemption arc. They're going to try to start it because she is so against the Inquisitors. She's not falling in line with what is supposed to be. She's trying her hardest to impress Vader, for whatever her reason is. But I don't know where that is, but that's going. But it would be interesting to see. I'm really interested in knowing where her story is going.
Yes.
I just don't feel like they're gonna. I feel like there could be a redemption arc with her.
There could be. We're only 2 episodes in, so it's going to be interesting to see where they take her and what they do with her. But I tend to agree. I think we're looking at a. I think we are looking at a redemption arc. And Jerk agrees here that the Vader angle makes sense and that she wants to impress him, which I agree with. Dirk also brought up the point they're going to have to move on at some point past the Skywalker story, and I agree. I like the idea.
There's so much to do.
Yeah, I love the idea of them establishing some new stuff. But they have to find, at this point, they have to find the right people to do it. I'm very much taking each particular Star Wars show one show at a time.
Same here.
Because we've been disappointed. And the TV shows are turning out to be far superior to the last 3 movies. And
superior.
Yeah. I would be happy if they just keep giving me Star Wars television shows at this point.
Yeah.
Me too.
So let's talk about the last scene. Let's talk about Obi-Wan's reaction to learning Anakin is still alive.
He's like, I feel like he feels like in some ways, how did I miss this?
It was a gut punch. It was.
Yeah.
It's like, how did I miss this?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sure. He's like, why didn't I sense him? He's my brother. It's the loss, the love, and
he's heartbroken, but yet at the same time, I think he realizes that everything, the entire game, just
changed.
Well, also not only that it's because he didn't stick around to make sure that Anakin was dead. He failed yet again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it just highlights his failure, but it also at the same time reminds him just his job's not done. He's got to protect the kids.
Yeah.
So it's like waking up the dead beast.
Yeah, it's also that whole, the whole thing about too much pride and all that stuff and all that, because hey, I'm sure he's going to die, so I'm just going to leave him here instead of just going ahead and finishing him off like he was supposed to. So all that comes into play. Everything that was said about the Jedi at the time, the Jedi Order, how they were become too prideful and all that other stuff, and blah 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 blah. You can go on down the list. All that comes into play with his feelings about finding out that.
Wait, hold on a second. The very last scene when Padme is giving birth to the twins, and she's like, "There's still good in him."
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that after the battle?
That was after. Yeah, that was after the Mustafar. That was after the Mustafar fight.
So, for all intents and purposes, he thought he was dead, but she's saying there's still good in him.
But
so
she didn't
knew he wasn't dead,
or she didn't know that she didn't know anything at that point. I don't even think she knew that. I don't even think she knew that Obi-Wan had the fight.
So he wasn't going to tell her that he just burned him like a crispy marshmallow.
To a crispy marshmallow, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's giving birth. He's not telling her that. No, sorry, honey. I just burned your husband to a crispy marshmallow. Okay, there's nothing left in him.
Right.
So maybe a gooey center, if that.
Yeah. Crispy on the outside,
gooey on the inside.
Walt just got that in stereo.
Actually, I was just sitting here thinking, man, I feel like marshmallows right now.
I'm going to name this marshmallow Anakin.
I was like, I could, I got some barbecue that I plan on cooking tomorrow, so some marshmallows with that on the side.
Obi-Wan.
But
yeah, no.
Oh, and by the way, they've already got her action figure. They're already plastering her action figure all over the internet.
Who?
Now, so, Reva.
Reva?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Their sister. So actually, they've been plastering all their action figures. So
I really hope she doesn't get hate. Because I think she's doing great.
She's phenomenal. I actually really like her.
Think they picked good.
I like her.
Yeah.
They picked it. She's playing that part.
She is
that part. I am liking hating her right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the good. That's the okay. That's the good hate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not supposed to like her character.
No.
And you're supposed to be like, it's supposed to. Hello, spirit. Okay, stay
There's your
over
cat.
there. My cat's here. Hold on. She's looking out the window.
Mariam's desk is not quite as sturdy as mine.
No, it's definitely a thingy. Okay, spirit, just don't. Okay. Anyways, what was I saying?
She's that character you love to hate.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Tail. Yes, she's the character you're supposed to love to hate, and if she's doing her job right, then she's you're not liking her character.
And she is, because we love.
Don't drink my water.
The character that
really?
Yes,
she's got her head in my cup. Get your head out of my cup.
We love the character that she's creating.
Yes,
on screen, and we hate her at the same time. So that right there shows us that yes, she's doing
and I think
right.
Because they're going so hard and so fast at it of making her really dislikable, like not even for it.
Hold on for a minute. It was like, that is Mariam's cat Spirit. Spirit, hi baby. She was my little buddy while I was there. So.
Oh yes. She's going nuts. She's like, I gotta look. They do that. But I think they're going so hard and so fast at making her dislikable, not only to, the Jedi, towards all the Jedi that she's hunting, but to her own Inquisitors. So
Right.
she's being disliked from both sides in the storyline. That's why I think she's on a redemption arc.
Well, she could be.
Yeah.
You know, Lena Headey from Game of Thrones was at a fan signing, and people kept walking past her table, and she finally looked at one girl and she said, do you not want my autograph? And the girl said, no, because I hate your character. Lena Headey made the comment that she knew she was doing something right because her character was supposed to be hated.
Right.
Yes.
And she knew she was doing it right.
That's why Moff Gideon was so brilliantly done.
Yeah. And I see Moses Ingram doing the same thing with Reva.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love to hate Moff Gideon, but, you know, when you see, you know, what's his name? I can never say his name because it's like complex. But when you see him like talking and he's just so sweet and stuff, and I'm like, you play these really awesome bad guys. How are you so nice?
He was the Los Hermanos.
He's in Bad Boys.
Yeah, he's in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and he's in Bad Boys.
The
Boys. He's in The Boys.
Yeah, he's in The Boys.
The Boys.
Oh.
Jensen Ackles.
I can't wait.
Are we the only girls that like fawn over all the guys?
No. The others fawn over it. Walt's just heard it all.
Thank you. I still can't say his name. Esposito?
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
Giancarlo Esposito.
I can never say his name.
Yeah.
Which is Italian.
My dyslexia would not allow me to say his name.
Yeah, no.
Hello.
And yes, he is a great actor. Yes.
He's going to be at the convention next month. Just a few days here. By the way,
The one we're not going to.
Well, you guys have. We have our fan fest right now. Our
Yeah,
Comic-Con.
Fan Expo's next. The Fan Expo down here is next month. So
yeah,
and
But
of course,
did you
Brendan
guys
Fraser's
watch-
supposed to be there again.
yeah.
Did you see the exposition, the Star Wars exposition from Disney with them announcing all the shows?
Yep.
I didn't see it.
Oh my God, some great shows.
They've been
shows. Coming
but
up.
the what is it? The one with Jude.
Oh,
Jude
Jude Law.
Law.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I want to
Skeleton
know what
Crew.
they're doing with that. That's exciting.
Skeleton Crew. I have been seeing the post for the new shows and everything. So
Yeah, the Andor, that looks
Andor.
interesting.
Yeah. Andor
Might
looks
be a
good.
show we didn't know we needed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Possible.
they talked about that one when Rogue One came out, and everyone was like, "Who's this Andor guy?" And it was like, "Well, we're just going to do a show about him, and you can stop
And
asking."
everybody's like, "Did we
Yeah.
even ask for this?" And so maybe the show that we needed.
Yeah. Well, everybody loved that character, and that's the reason why we're getting the show.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I mean, then they did so obviously we got the Obi-Wan, we did the Mandalorian. There was a couple other shows they announced, which is pretty exciting.
Well, season 2 of Bad Batch, I know they announced. Which
Bad
Yes, they
Batch,
did announce that.
Bad
They said that
Batch,
one is, and Ahsoka is in production right now.
Ahsoka,
There's some like
Y'all,
new
you
street something for Star Wars. There's doing something.
You guys get a whole lot more spoiler alert too.
What?
yeah. Speaking of more spoiler alert,
Oh,
we need people to let us know what they want us to spoil. Like
Yes.
we have She-Hulk Attorney at Law coming up.
oh my God!
We have
Looks
Here,
so
hold on for a minute. Hold
my
that
God.
thought for a minute, Walt. Hold that for a minute, because we got something for this. So first off, final thoughts on Obi-Wan.
Love it.
Walt?
let's I can't wait to see this next episode. Seeing as Obi-Wan has been told that Darth Vader is still alive. Oh, he's still alive. Oh yeah. So it's going to get interesting from there on. Of course, we'll get more of Leia. So, but yeah, my final thoughts is so far so good. It's good. It's good. More.
Mariam?
I love it. The reason is it's a good story right now. It's we're actually building it in a storytelling format. I mean, Ewan McGregor said himself that it's literally like these 6 episodes is more like one extremely long movie.
Yeah.
So instead of being episodic, it's movie oriented. So I think that they're building the storyline really well, and they're making compelling characters, which I think is really important. And I'm very excited to see where this is going. I mean, it's got me going, oh my gosh, what's happening next? I can't wait till next. When is it? Friday?
Friday, yeah.
When did they move it from Wednesday to Friday?
It's always been Friday for the Star Wars things.
Star Wars has always been Friday.
And Marvel
really?
has always been Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh.
Because
I
I
guess
think
I'm spoiled by Wednesday.
I think Tuesdays has been the Disney slot for their shows, because which I need to go back and watch Turner and Hooch. I heard that was a really nice show, but that's a tangent. But yeah, I think Tuesdays are for the Disney shows, and I think Thursdays are like the National Geographic, the Nat Geo shows. So
okay, I was like, why not Wednesday? Why Friday? I guess now
because Bad Batch was Fridays.
Okay. Yeah. But I'm enjoying this a lot. I mean, I'm not feeling. I know that the first episode was kind of slow, and we didn't get a lot. I mean, we got, and it picked up a little bit, and it's still kind of slow. But the way this is building, I think it's going to have a good payoff, and we're going to get a really good story out of this, a very satisfying story. That's my thoughts. So I would say for anybody who's thinking they're bored, it's kind of like watching Dune. You have to get through and let them build the world, let them build the story, so you know what happens when they start hitting you with everything.
Let you get to know the characters.
Yes.
That was a complaint that was said about Netflix's Sense8.
Yeah.
Where they spent the first 4 episodes introducing you to the characters. And by the end of the 4th episode, it was like, all right, let's get to business.
Yeah, exactly. But it helps you because you know where the characters are coming from. You know, you're not just going, who's this guy and why are they kind of going nuts?
You are correct, Dirk. You are correct.
Only fan holds are bored.
Yes.
Only fan holds are bored.
But I am really loving Obi-Wan right now. Yeah. How about you, sis?
My little 7-year-old heart, who first met Obi-Wan Kenobi as an old, crotchety wizard on the Dune Sea, came screaming to life 5 minutes into that TV show. It is everything that I have looked for in a Star Wars show. It ties together beloved characters. Anybody who knows me knows I am a huge Anakin Skywalker fan. And I also, Darth Vader has always been my favorite from the day I first heard him breathe on the big movie screen. To this day, I hear that sound and I still get cold chills. We are seeing the world building that we wanted. We are seeing the vistas visually, that has been lacking in quite a bit of the last 10, 15 years worth of Star Wars stuff. And I'm talking movies. I'm not talking cartoons, and everything.
You better not be talking about Mando.
No, I'm not talking about Mando. We got that same world building in Mando, and we've gotten some of that world building in Book of Boba Fett. Obi-Wan in 2 episodes has taken it again to the next level. This is the storytelling that OG fans are looking for. This is the storytelling that I'm proud to share with my grandson. And
my boys watched it full blast. It was blasting through the house.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Yeah,
we were having fun.
I'm ready for the next episode. I'm ready to see what is going to happen. Ewan McGregor, as always, has just killed it. He seamlessly slipped right back into the role. I was noticing things in the 2nd episode, like the way he was touching his beard, the way he held his hand over his mouth, like this, little things that we saw in the prequel movies when he, took Obi-Wan from Alec Guinness and really made it his own and gave us this fleshed out, Jedi. And the only thing that I can honestly say, I think I will be sad that we don't get to see is Obi-Wan's relationship with the Mandalorian chick.
Sabine.
Sabine.
That was
That's okay. I'll be the relationship. I'll take over. I'll soothe his heart.
They need to hurry up with the next ones. On that note, I'm going to go here.
That's a
housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
What were we going to say, Walt, before we went to housekeeping?
I was going to say that would make a great story.
Yes, it would.
Do you realize Ewan actually said that he watched the entire Clone Wars to help him understand? Not what Hayden did that. Obi-Wan
did it.
Hayden did it to understand the mark, but they both did it so that they could pick up the nuances from the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
you know?
That's good. That's great.
Yeah. So I played housekeeping for a reason. Walt, take it away. Shows that people want us to see us.
What? Again, if there are any shows out there that you guys want us to spoil or talk about, just let us know. Drop us a line. What is it? taskforcegeek@gmail.com. Is that correct, Derek?
I'm looking for it. Hold on. I'm looking for it.
Or you can hashtag us on Twitter, #TaskForceGeek. You can also hashtag us on Instagram, #TaskForceGeek. I check that like once a week on Instagram.
Dirk, why do you not have this in this list? He's going, it's in there. It is. There we go. There it is.
He says it's correct. TaskForceGeek@gmail.com. I will let you know, like right now, we can't cover them all, but we can at least drop some dimes on some of the things that we do watch. Like I'm a big fan of DC's Young Justice. They're about 2 episodes away from wrapping up. That's 4th season. That's some good stuff there. Let's see. Also, Netflix has dropped Stranger Things 4, which I've already watched, and they broke that in half. Unfortunately, there's another half of season 4 coming out in July. I'm just going to spoil that for you right now. So when you get to the end of that, you're going to be upset. TFG After Dark. Oh, I don't want to go into that one right now.
Hey, seriously, if you guys are looking for more adult-oriented content that you want to see us spoil, let us know. We'll spoil it for you. We'll create TFG After Dark just for you. If you need us to.
But yeah, just let us know. Let us know the shows. If there's some shows that you want us to go into deep detail in, let us know. If there's some shows you'd just like us to, just kind of comment on, what do we think about it? We'll do that too. Like I said, I will drop little nuggets of Young Justice. Like, for instance, like right now, I'm going to spoil it for you if you haven't watched. Superboy is still alive. Just going to give you that. And they're off to rescuing.
Kudos out to Mariam from Dirk.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, she kind of fits in. She kind of fits into the group, so we're just gonna have to keep her around.
What am I? I like Star Wars.
You're spoiler alert,
and
girl.
Marvel and all these different shows. Oh my gosh!
I would spoil Top Gun Maverick for you right now, but I'm seeing it tomorrow, so I can't do that yet.
Oh, you can't spoil it yet.
No spoiling.
I will say, I will give you this spoiler.
It's getting some amazing reviews, actually.
I will give you this spoiler, and Steve sent this to me yesterday, which I've already downloaded, Steve. If you're an Ace Combat 7 player on PlayStation and on Steam, there is a new download content for Top Gun Maverick skins for airplanes and some new airplanes from Top Gun Maverick that are playable. So get on your PlayStation 4, download those things, get on Steam, download those things, those things, and start playing them.
Exciting.
And that's all we got for this week, guys. Also, one last little bit of housekeeping. If you know anyone that is a creative artist comic book writer, musician, it doesn't matter. If you know anyone that would be a fantastic guest on Task Force Geek, go ahead and drop us a line. We would love to have them on. We are looking for guests all the time, and you can hit Dirk up at taskforcegeek@gmail.com with all their information, and one of us will be more than happy to reach out to them and get them scheduled on the show. Until next week, from Mariam and Walt.
Thank you.
May the force be with you, and we will be back next week, same time, same station, to spoil episode 3 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Until then, take care and have a fantastic week.